Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. And we have two guests today, and they're in the studio, which is awesome given we've been isolating quite a bit in the last few months. So it's good to see real live people and not on Zoom and all of that. And we are being safe, so just so that you'll know that. But with us today from Creators Assemble Incorporated are Moni Barrette and I did that right.
You did.
Okay, good. And Dan Wood, who's on the board of the Creators Assemble, and he's also the one of the principal librarians at the Escondido Public Library. He's in charge of youth literacy, adult literacy, and youth services. Man, I'm getting it. Very good. All right, let's get warmed up here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, so glad you're here. So glad you're here. And we're going to have fun and share something on a topic I think that a lot of us, it's near and dear to us. So I think I'm going to start with you, Moni. You're the founder of Creators Assemble?
Yeah, my husband and I are the co-founders, and I'm the current president as well. So that's been about 6 months that we've been in business, 6 whole months next month, but we have a lot of background prior to this in doing similar things.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So when you say you've been in doing business for 6 months, usually something comes before that.
Sure.
And so you have been a nonprofit organization for the last 6 months?
Yes, we've been a designated nonprofit for the last 6 months. However, I'm fresh off a 16-year library career. And during that time, I was a quote-unquote comics librarian. I'm also currently on the board for the American Library Association's Graphic Novels and Roundtable group. So basically, you can say I've had a lot of experience before running similar types of events. And my husband was always bugging me, we should start a nonprofit. But of course, when you work for a public library for a city, it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah,
and so it was something that was totally off the table up until I no longer was employed. And then it was like, why not try to do something? You know, COVID was the best and worst times to build something new.
Yeah, I get that. And I just heard something I've never heard before in my life. Comics librarian. Not those two is like, what? Wash your mouth out with soap. I mean, it's in the old times I would have been like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But what I want you to do before you answer that question, because you are well qualified to be doing what you're doing right now, comics librarian, ALA, the work you were doing there with
the Graphic Novel and Comics Roundtable.
Right. See what I'm saying here? So tell me the mission of your organization.
So our organization does a couple of things. We raise awareness of the value of comics, graphic novels, and pop culture in education and in literacy. So we also provide tangible support to educators and libraries who want to use these materials in their educational settings. And then we also facilitate connections and resources to help creators. And that's anybody who wants to be a drawing, be an animation, aspiring to become a writer in the comic space, even cosplay professionals. Anyone who is looking for an opportunity in comics and pop culture, we try to help provide resources for them to find that.
Okay. Now, the saying is that nonprofits are formed for the purpose usually of solving a problem.
Sure.
What's the problem you're addressing here? Or what is the thing, the way that you're enhancing quality of life if it's not a problem? I don't feel like this is a problem. I just feel like this is an awesome, awesome thing because I love comics still.
Well, as a librarian who works with a lot of teachers, too, we see kind of a wane in interest. And I know Dan, as a literacy person, can attest to it as well.
I'm going to get Dan in a second. We're going to get into this. All right.
You know, it's harder and harder to get kids to read. It's harder to re-engage teens and adults back into reading. And to me, comics and graphic novels began kind of as like a reading ladder or a bridge of like, here, read something that's interesting to you. And the more that market grows, the more you get actually fantastic stories, biographies, history, textbook support, curriculum, graphic medicine, all different kinds of things that support what's being read in classrooms and in libraries. And whatever, I'm in the boat of whatever we can do to get people to read, we should be doing.
Okay, and that's been actually a hot topic on this show. So I do want to come back to that. Remind me, will you?
Of course.
Hey, Dan, remind me, tell us why this is so important to you, because you're on the board.
Yes, I am.
And you do work for a library, and comic books are the great enemy. I mean, I'm just kidding you.
Right, of course.
Right, but at a time, right?
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
So I've had the pleasure of working with Moni for over 5 years now. We met at the Escondido Public Library, and she got me involved with the Graphic Novel and Comics Roundtable as well, part of ALA, so I've been there. And I do consider myself a comics librarian as well, with one of the many hats that I wear. But this is important to me because, as Moni said, it is so important that we get kids, teens, adults reading. And graphic novels are some of the best tools I've ever seen. Pre-pandemic, whenever we had library tours, we would have kids come in. When I was working the desk, I'd have 8, 9, 10, 12 of them deep, asking me where the graphic novels were. I'd take them over to the shelf, and I'd have them all just cheering, telling me about the characters. If I'd see the same kid next week, ask him, hey, how's Dogman doing? Eyes light up, he'd be telling me about it. So it's just the power of how much they want to read these books is so important to me. And even just the visual representation of what they are. Yes, you can read about someone, but if you physically see an image of someone that represents you, there's so much more impact there.
Right.
And it tells the story. And then from there, it's like, what else is out there for me? And it can lead to books that get into maybe a little bit more of the deeper part of the topic. But to go back, a lot of the work that I have done, Creators Assemble helps enhance and gives me an opportunity to be part of the driving force behind the not only helping creators, but providing literary tools and support and just communicating the importance of doing what we can to get people to read. Reading is such a linchpin and important part of life. And honestly, literacy goes beyond reading as well. If you can read, you're going to become competent in so many other areas of interest that can lead you. And we've got graphic novels that are fun little stories, sure, but I've seen, like Moni mentioned, graphic medicine novels. There are some wonderful graphic novels on science topics that I've seen kids check out and actually spark an interest in that topic, where they would come back and then get more complicated books on the topic so they could pursue science experiments and things like that.
Are you both familiar with Beast Academy? Is that familiar to you?
Yes, I'm familiar with Beast Academy.
Are you?
We got some of the graphic novel math books for our literacy program at Escondido.
And so that was kind of my first exposure to something that a skill-based, maybe scholar. I mean, we're talking about math, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
In comics. So when you said graphic medicine, Moni, that I was like, what? So I want to come back to you, but Dan, I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
That is your library well stocked with graphic novels?
Yes, we have staff. Actually, Moni is the driving force that actually started the graphic novels at the Escondido Public Library, and because of the hard work that she put in there, the collection has just boomed for adults, teens, and our kids. We try to be very well stocked with those, and when the pandemic hit, we converted over to providing a lot of digital versions of graphic novels for the kids, the teens, and the adults to check out. So while we were closed and weren't doing curbside pickup, they could still get their fix, as it were, for the novels. But yeah, I'd say we're pretty highly stacked, and I've done some research just out of curiosity, and it continues to be one of, at least for the kiddos, one of our more highly circed collections based on how many books we have.
Which means highest number of checkouts.
Highest number of
We speak
checkouts.
librarians.
Okay.
Searched.
Very good, very good. Well, quite fortunate, I would say, Dan, and congratulations to you and the Escondido Library for finding Moni. And
Yes.
right? I mean, we're talking about the reluctant readers and such, and that is an important topic to us because, again, we tend to tell kids what to read, or we restrict what their options are and such. So I do want to know more about graphic medicine and all. I mean, is that something that's been around for a while? Or?
Yes, and it's definitely growing. And I used to think of it coming from working in adult services in the library as just, not that this isn't important, books that explain medical conditions. So if like an elderly person gets a complicated medical condition told to them by a doctor, they can come in and see it actually broke down visually and that kind of thing. But actually, it's a huge booming genre when you look at Raina Telgemeier and all the folks like that, because they're doing a lot of any first-person account of anxiety, depression, all the things that kids may be experiencing.
Right.
I know my own 7-year-old read Guts, and really Raina Telgemeier's bestseller Guts, and that's considered graphic medicine because what it is talking about her experience physically manifesting anxiety within her guts. And I saw how much that resonated with like, oh, I have a tummy ache. That's what Raina talked about.
Right.
You know, it's really interesting.
Wow, very good. And we are in the visual age, the video age and such. So, you know, it makes sense that way for us that we still have to make pictures in our minds. And at the same time, you know, we have VH1, we have MTV that also brought visuals to music. And so it's just a sign of the times. And there's the purists among us who just say, you know, read the book and you got to have your own imagination, etc. That's great, but you're not going to get the readers that you want.
Well, and you know, there's different types of literacy, and to be able to to ask them, how do the pictures go along with the words?
Very good. So we're going to go to break right now. Let me see. Did that go by fast?
That does go by
Right.
fast.
We're just getting
when you're
started.
having fun.
Yeah, we're just getting started here. So we'll be back with Moni and with and Dan, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what they're doing at Creators Assemble. I'm Jose Cruz. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Can you help a newborn baby in need? Sometimes the blessing of birth becomes complicated and perilous. Miracle Babies is there to help. Miracle Babies helps moms and dads give their all to their struggling little baby, but still need more. When you give to Miracle Babies, you help them give more. More skin-to-skin care, breast milk, and love. Go to miraclebabies.org and give right now. Be their miracle. Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book, Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children. Because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. We're talking to Moni Barrette. She is one of the founders of Creators Assemble, and then Dan Wood, who's on the board of the organization and also a librarian, principal librarian at the Escondido Public Library. Let's talk more about the way that the work that you're doing, the whole idea of comics and graphic novels are creating maybe an inclusiveness among, let's start with the young audiences, because I know you have other ones. So Dan referenced in the first segment a little bit about diversity. And so how does this all play in together, especially the conversation we're having these days about equity and people being able to see themselves in literature? So who wants to take that one on?
Well, I'll start. We've seen in the graphic novels I've been reviewing and purchasing for the library, we've seen a nice uptick in representation across the board of stories for a diverse audience that is actually stories of them at that age, stories that like, oh, this is my life situation, I want to read about this. Or we're seeing superheroes that are representative of who they are, and like, that's a hero I can look up to.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful example of this is the gentleman who played the Black Panther in the movies that unfortunately passed away last week, I believe, and it just the amount of outpouring of sadness, but also hope and joy and everything of all this generation that had a hero they could look up to was quite amazing, and I think it's fantastic.
You know, I don't think we knew just how much. Remind me of his name.
It was
Chadwick Boseman.
Yes,
Chadwick
okay,
Boseman.
that's why I didn't remember. It's okay, but I did see that. I did see how that registered. His passing registered with children, with Marvel comics people, movie lovers, etc. So you have that right?
Yes, which is great, and I look forward to seeing what else comes out and where it's going to go. It's just the stories are incredible and amazing.
Yeah, no, they are absolutely. So, are some of your artists are they creating new characters, new heroes? Have you seen that yet?
Absolutely, yeah, we've definitely seen that, and we do a monthly Limelight spotlight. So basically, we work with an artist and find out if they want to get basically a month of free publicity, and we just promote their art and their work. And we have people not even just from San Diego, not even just from the state. We have an actual Nigerian artist, Ibim Kuki. He is in our ebook for charity. He's just, we have a real amazing, diverse, Don Nguyen does a lot of Black Lives Matter work. We have a lot of different diversity in that book.
What's your age range of contributors?
That currently it's ranging from higher teen to adult. We would like to do some projects with some at-risk kids in particular to do some kind of mentorship program where we'll have like a creator help a child, work through a project to fruition and maybe find an opportunity for them with a small publishing house. That's kind of an initiative that's on our radar right now. But
Yeah, that could be a real thing. We had met before and maybe talked a little bit about the opportunity to have people tell their story about their community and such. And so there's some really brand new things that could come out that'll be really exciting. Have you come across some real talents who are really strong with illustration and with written content? Or is it a breakup of the two?
It's usually a breakup of the two, but what was really interesting during the process of putting together our charity book was folks who found each other through our network. And, you know, I'm a writer and I love your illustrations. Do you want to work together? So we got some great poetry on the page.
Wow.
You know, covered with writing, with illustrations from somebody else. That was a really neat collaborative moment that kind of taught them a little bit of how to be working in this space.
Well, people like what they do, and they probably like more that they're talented in a certain area. Having said that, which one is harder? Is it the writing part or the illustration part?
I hear both. I'm not going to make anybody upset. I know that both sides work very hard, and usually it's something they say they have to kind of do daily.
Wholeheartedly agree with that.
Practice with, but
Now, Dan, you mentioned Dogman, which I've never heard Dogman. I know Captain Underpants, but
same author, actually.
Oh, is it really?
Same author.
Okay, what a coincidence! I didn't. Okay, good names. Then that's why that caught my attention.
Yeah, Dogman, Dave Pilkey, one of the most popular books we have ever seen. Right up there with Raymond Talgemeyer for popularity.
Man, it looks like I gotta look this one up. So is that like a dog man or something?
It's literally a dog that turns
right on the nose.
That turns into a man, dog man, who is a superhero that goes around and fights crime. Some of the titles are For Who the Ball Rolls, A Tale of Two Kitties. So the author's taking a lot of famously published classics and playing puns on the titles for his graphic novels.
Very good. So the character is originally a dog.
Yes.
That's a twist.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I could get into that. Let's talk a little bit more about your motivation for doing what you're doing, Moni. That it seems like this has been your interest for a long time, and again, driven by reluctant readers, and I know, golly, we want all kids to read, but sometimes you just got to hook them. So maybe go back in time a little bit. So what brought you to where you are now? And I know it's ALA, and I know the comics librarian, which is still blowing my mind, but something is happening deep inside that's making you do what you're doing.
Sure. It was funny. I started as an entry-level librarian, Escondido Public Library, looking for a niche. What's going on in this library that's popular that could be made even better? And I was trying to prove myself to the administration at the time. And what I found was a huge uptick in people using teens and children's comics to read, but they were putting the adult comics into the teen area. And so you're basically having mature content and adults having to walk over to the teen area and kind of like paper bag, like shame, go get their materials. Yeah. And so since I was working in adult services, I wanted to reignite their passion, pulled that out of there, made it into a new collection, and it turned into the third most circulated, checked out collection in the entire library within like a couple of weeks. And just basically went on to run the numbers on that and started to talk about it at San Diego Comic-Con, at WonderCon, got invited to talk about it with some others at New York Comic-Con, and realized that what I was doing, people were really having a lot of questions about and responding to. And cut to this many years later, 3 years ago, KPBS, I was on the committee that helped bring March, Congressman Lewis's.
Oh, sure.
I was on that committee that helped that get approved, which was so scary at the time,
Yeah.
And now, 2 years later, you have another one. You've got They Called Us Enemy by George Takei is your community-wide read.
Saw that.
So we're bringing that legitimacy in, and I'm seeing how it resonates. I had the pleasure of putting March into traditional print book readers' hands, older Caucasian females, and they were, I'm not going to read this. This is terrible. A long-standing book club that we had. Yeah. They fell in love with it. They couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't keep it on the shelves. And I saw the power of what we could be doing here.
My goodness. So graphic novels are happening. Because you're right. I remember March being the book of the year. And then now you have what took...
They Called Us Enemy?
Yeah, they see? And so... that's just telling the people, I've met these folks, the people who read the books for KPBS, for One Book, One San Diego. They're really serious about what they're doing. I tried to be one of them, and I just could not keep up. And so I was on the committee for a short while. I got through one book, which I actually rented borrowed at your library. The Free. I think it was called The Free. Does that sound familiar?
I think that sounds familiar.
And that's kind of, I started reading again, which was a good thing. But let me ask, Dan, who's your boss over there at the Escondido Library? Remind me.
Dara Bratz.
Okay. Have I not met Dara?
You may have at, I think you have, but maybe just quickly in passing.
And how was you already into this? Or was like, man, we got it, sir. We got to do this. How supportive? I guess he would have to be supportive, right, for this, right?
She really is. She started at the Escondido Public Library about just over a year ago. Now she came in as our new library director, and it was actually one of the first conversations that I had with her. That I'm involved with this. Graphic novels are important, and it's been incredibly supportive.
Yeah, very good.
She really believes in the power of it.
Very good. So it makes sense that I haven't met your head librarian because we haven't met anybody since
COVID had started.
January, February. Here we are in September. So exciting, and I guess you'd understand that a lot of people don't know that this is happening. This is one of the things that's taking place in literature. But it's a very, very good thing. So I'm excited because I understand the challenge that we have. We've had some guests on this show. Daphne Russell, who wrote a book called Read or Die. And have you read that?
I haven't read it yet. I remember you mentioning it.
Yeah, and so she's a retired educator from Tucson. But I think part of why she moved on may have been disillusionment. But what she was doing was, kind of breaking the rules. It's like, I'm going to give these kids what they want to read. And she had them reading. And so, like I said, there's, kids are different these days. So it's not, I don't really feel, we don't do a good job of protecting them the way they protected us when we were kids. So they pretty much know what's going on. So, but it worked. It worked in her classroom. So we want to talk, and our listeners want to hear you talk more about what you're doing with, Creators Assemble. I want to say ensemble, but it's Assemble. Anyway, we're going to be back with Moni and Dan. You've been listening to the Literacy for All radio show. I'm Jose Cruz, and we're all on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. MCAULIFFE. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com. Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show. We're on WS Radio with Moni Barrette and Dan Wood, and they're both with Creators Assemble. Moni is one of the founders, and Dan is a board member with Creators Assemble and also a librarian, principal librarian at the Escondido Public Library. I wanted to ask, I have a long list of questions here. Let's talk about the San Marcos Project, what you're doing with adult immigrant populations, and the toolkit.
Sure.
Okay, all right. I don't know how those all connect, but you'll make them connect.
Oh, no, it sounds fantastic. So Creators Assemble has an entire committee called Educators Unite, and it is exactly how it sounds. It's teachers K through 12, librarians, both public and academic, and professors from various different universities, some of them actually on the East Coast as well. And we have one professor, Dr. Matthew Atherton, working with us, who does a student success class. It's a required course for immigrating students to Cal State San Marcos. And this fall, he is piloting a program where he's pairing 5 of our Creators Assemble illustrators to come together with these students and do a 5-panel comic on their stories.
Oh, okay. So the illustrators are professionals, experienced, yes?
In the field, yes. A lot of them have been included in... they're a lot more further along in the process. They're maybe not like the high-end, like Marvel publishers, but they have seen success in the field, and they're getting paired together with 5 of these students.
And the students are going to generate content for the...
They're putting together their narrative story of journey to college and kind of it's why they decided to go to college, how they got to college, and by telling these narratives and turning them into a illustrated format, make it a little bit more easily digestible and hopefully as examples for those that will come after them.
And so is the format, let's say it's one of the students, maybe with one of the real illustrators?
Yes.
And then are they going to work on like a strip or a page or?
So the students are going to be putting together the narratives, and then once they get connected with the illustrators, they'll work on how the illustrator works best, be it off of a script, bullet point list, something like that, and then they'll take the student narrative and adapt it into 5-panel comic. If the student wants one big illustrated page, they can do that. It's going to kind of ebb and flow, but they are looking towards more the comic side of things, so there's a sequential storytelling element to it.
And what is this class again?
It is a student success course at the Cal State San Marcos, taught by Dr. Matt Atherton.
And is this just one of the things that happens in that class, or is this kind of the focus?
This is just one of the many projects that they do. He teaches college success skills. This is where you do research. These are some of the classes you should look at, things like that, just so they don't get too overwhelmed or stressed. It's classes like how you can keep going and succeed.
Right, very good. Moni, writing for a comic is a different kind of writing, is it? Is it not? I think I would struggle. I mean, just because I'm long-winded. So, what one is that a talent to? Do you adopt? Are the people show you how to do that, or just like it's pretty wide open?
It's pretty wide open because there's so many different formats you can go with, like a prose. You can go with all different kinds of things, and I think at the end of the day, that's part of the beauty of the collaboration that you have between the illustrator and the writer. And of course, you have an inker and all these other things involved that more than people realize. But is how do you take my dense, blocked out page story, and how do we make this into bite-sized pieces for a page? And that's why, again, it's another form of literacy and it's another form of art. And part of the beauty of this project at Cal San Marcos is it's also going to transcend any language barriers because it will be so visual.
Yeah, very good. So with songwriting, which I know a little bit about that, sometimes the music comes first, sometimes the lyrics come first. With the comic book development, my guess is the illustrators take their lead from the writers. Is that a good guess, or it's not always that way?
It completely varies. There are so many projects out there. I mean, bigger publishing houses will say, you have this, we want this writer, and they have this idea, and we think they'll be good with this illustrator, and that's how that goes. Other times, ours are more about organic collaborations where people, feel drawn to this other person, no pun intended, drawn, and want to work together on something.
None taken. Very good, very good. So, Dan, have you done any of this yourself? No. Okay.
I was at one time, I would like to pretend I was an aspiring writer way back in the day, so I've got some
I belong to that club. I'm another one of those, yeah.
Of novel writing, but the comic writing process, it is completely new to me and very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating to me. I'm not caught up. I don't think I'm even close to it. Did we talk about the toolkit?
We did not. And that's a big component of what we're working on currently. Again, when we were doing all these presentations, we kind of started getting the same types of questions on how do I sell my administration on using this? How do I talk to parents when, their kid's in a college course and they find a comic book in their room? How do they justify, so these are questions that educators and librarians have. And even some educators don't even know how to physically read a comic, and certainly some students haven't done it before. So our toolkit is going to include short how to use comics in your classrooms and libraries, why you should use comics in your classrooms and libraries, and these are podcasts, a quick video on how to physically read a comic book, and then we're going to include a graphic novel and some curriculum around it with discussion questions, how to lead a book club for a library, what other types of programs you can do, and also how to support it in your classroom. And this is what that committee of educators that we have is working on currently.
Right. Educators United.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys, I wrote it down. Now, Dan, have you witnessed any reluctance to this particular focus?
It depends on the day.
Okay.
Sometimes you have folks that are gung-ho and they want to do whatever they can to support. I've done many a panel presentation where we've had people lined up that wanted to ask so many more questions about it, and then you occasionally get the parent, unfortunately, that wants their kid to read along the Lexile level and only this specific book because it's only rated this many points.
Okay, all right, I get that, yeah.
They can read nothing else. Oh, graphic novels are for kids, they're for babies, they shouldn't be reading that, they're too easy.
Yeah.
Well, no. So then that's an opportunity of a teachable moment of explaining, yes, but if your kid's interested in this, let them read it. I guarantee it's going to lead to these other things.
Yes, very good.
Their interest, and look, tell them, read a graphic novel, read this book, pair them off, treat it as a reward if you need to, but let them read what they want to read. If you're forcing them to read, they're going to have honestly, I hate to say this, a lifelong hate of it. If it's forced, I wouldn't want to be forced to do it.
Yeah, and in giving your work in adult literacy, you're seeing some individuals say this for some reason it didn't catch on.
It didn't catch on, or others are, I enjoy this. It's a good way to visualize what's being talked about, or taking larger words and breaking them down into context. If you see an image in a story, it allows for, I can even argue, quicker learning.
Yeah, very good.
And where our expertise comes in, too, is publishers, back when it was just about fandom in comics, have their idea of, what level a book is at or what audience it should generally be. But where the work for educators and librarians who know this stuff comes in is to be able to put the right book into the right, into a child's hand, into a teen's hand, into a low literacy adult's hand.
Right.
That's where we say, not only what are you interested in, but also what level of reading. And that's knowledge that we have that we're trying to impart and teach others how to be able to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, I keep thinking it's the magic button, I guess, to find that book or those books or that series or something where a young person's like, where's the next one?
Yeah.
And where's the one after that? I mean, we used to stand out there in the thrifties by the comic book rack and almost like wait for the delivery of the next comic. I mean, that was a big deal. Is that important? It's become quite an art form too. I mean, when I went into comics, they had just jumped from 12 cents to 15 cents, which was devastating. How about that? 3 pennies, but it was a big deal, right? And then a quarter is a quarter. Oh man! But you never really lose your passion for it. And the kids, they see what's happening on TV with the movies and such. So it means a lot. It means a lot to them. We're going to go into break in just a bit, but how can people get in touch with you, Moni, to learn more about what you're doing?
So you'll find everything you'll want to know about us and probably too much more on creatorsassemble.org. And also on there are ways to contact us because we do provide 24/7 support for people who want to use comics in their classrooms or for creative types who want to be a part of our network and get some promotion through us as well.
So you are hearing from teachers who want to know more about how to, and they must get a pushback too, I would think, from folks. So
that's a big part of why we provide facts and figures to them as to, so they can take that back to parents and administrators and say, this is how you have a conversation about these things.
Part of the toolkit.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good to know. And people can ask for the toolkit. You would send that, is there a charge for the toolkit?
The whole thing isn't available yet in entirety, but we can give you a few pieces, and we're willing to give away a little bit of it for free, the podcast, so you can start listening to it. And if you're interested in that, we can, and everything. Also, obviously, we're a nonprofit, so all proceeds to charity when we do price it out.
All right. Well, that sounds like an important part of what you're doing because it's an introduction of sorts and also a step-by-step, et cetera. So we're going to come back to Moni Barrette and Dan Wood, Creators Assemble. And for our last segment, you're listening to the Literacy for All radio show. I'm Jose Cruz, and we're all on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days?
What's that mean? Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
To Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 more hours. That's 866-734-6877.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children. Because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. We're talking to Moni Barrette. She is one of the founders of Creators Assemble, and then Dan Wood, who's on the board of Creators Assemble and also principal librarian at the Escondido Public Library. Ooh, we're down to our last segment, so I want to make sure I get these questions in. You're working with second language populations too, right? You know, I kind of flash back a little bit because I think for us, yes, comic books you know well, but I'm trying to remember the name of the books that my mom read. She had stacks and stacks. You've seen these. They're all in Spanish. They're photo novelas, I think.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot imagine the title. I've seen them. I've seen friends showed me them.
Yeah.
Just, what's it called?
Oh, I've seen piles and piles and this is and so it's very popular, very common in Mexico, but didn't really catch on here. I want to say, at least in my mind, till recently. But we did talk about one of the award-winning books that you guys are familiar, both of you are familiar with, which was American-Born Chinese. And I got to meet the writer of that particular book. I wish I remembered his name.
It's Gene
Byung?
I think so.
Okay, it sounds familiar. So I got to meet him, and just like, well, so this is what's happening. How long is this going to last? Well, how long is this going to last, Moni?
Well, someone just gave me the figures. So comics used to be the market, and that was just, quote unquote, fandom. And that was a few $1 million market. Now, graphic novels, which are the more meatier version, the kind of stuff that you can use in education, are in the billions as far as an industry. And I think most of the publishers who are with it really see that they are trending towards education, towards library use, not just for the fandom market, although that still obviously exists as well.
Very good. And your ear has to be, I mean, you don't even have to have your ear to the ground, right, Dan?
No.
Being a librarian and being focused on young populations and stuff, and knowing what you know about literacy and how some people, it doesn't ever come to them. Our society has changed a lot. I mean, now we have this thing called a Comic-Con museum.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
If you haven't stopped by, I don't know how much they're open anymore, but oh my goodness, what a family-friendly place to go
so
to.
Cool.
I haven't been there yet.
Check it out. They were open Saturdays pre-pandemic for a few hours for like family group time, but I don't know about now.
Yeah. So did you see this coming as a librarian, Dan?
Yes and no. I know they were always popular, but I don't know exactly when the boom inspiration went off. I'd say within the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say probably a lot of it may have been around the rise of the first Iron Man movie in 2008. Yeah. That really brought a lot of popularity to it, more legitimacy and more mainstream. But there was always the kiddos, adults that enjoyed reading graphic novels, and libraries have always had comics and graphic novels in them, but it's just been more, as we become a more visual society, you've seen this rise in the popularity of graphic novels, I'd say. I mean, there's even awards that when these graphic novels win, say, the Eisner Award or the Harvey Award, the next day librarians go and order 2 or 3 copies of those, so publishers are seeing direct value in this as educational tools.
How about that, right? That's important, right? That'll keep things going.
Oh, it will.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, very good. I'd like to know that you're well supported, Moni, because we need what you're doing. And so, again, I was going to ask a couple of questions that way. Well, maybe, what is your vision for Creators Assemble? House funding, who do you perceive to be your primary investors, aside from the young people and such?
Well, COVID is both the best and the worst times to start something new. We are not well funded at this time and currently seeking grants, which a lot of grants are not available to organizations that are quite this new. And there are so many out there. But we are actively looking for that. We're also seeking funding opportunities, corporate donations, sponsorships. And we have a charity ebook right now, but 100% of the proceeds are split between 2 different charities. None of it goes to us. It's called Celebrate Diversity and Fight for Justice.
Wow.
It's available on our website. It's $12. It's 50 pages. And what it has is a very diverse group of up-and-coming creative types with some well-known Sina Grace, Ezra Clayton Daniels, Tony Parker. Some bigger creators in the comic book space are on there as well, kind of supporting and giving a leg up to the new guys. And so it's a win-win for everyone because obviously the money goes to the San Diego African American Museum of Art, as well as the California LGBT Art Alliance.
Wow.
And so, again, the fight for justice, there's a lot of Black Lives Matter stuff in there. And then it creates visibility for the up-and-coming creators that are in the book to get seen on the same level as other folks and know that they're available for work.
Well, the themes are so relevant. I mean, talk about timing,
sure,
right, as you said. So glad to hear that. I just really want this to catch on. My next question was, now here it is, any potential support from the comic book industry, that this is something they should be behind?
Yes, we have a lot of fantastic partners. As we mentioned, we work with San Diego Comic-Con. We worked with Reed Pop for New York Comic-Con. Those folks don't generally donate, but what they do is, we do panels for them. We just did one for Comic-Con at Home. That was a huge opportunity to work with some others in our space. Book Industry Charitable Foundation was on our panel. Heroes Initiative. We've really gotten a leg up in visibility for what we're doing and support.
We have.
From a lot of, and local organizations, Little Fish Comic Books, Traveling Stories. Emily was the one that introduced us to Jose.
That's right.
But in terms of right now, we're just looking wherever we can to help creators get a leg up, to help teachers. They're struggling so much. So, of course, our toolkit is completely digital so that they can get their hands on it. We're just looking to provide access and support wherever we can right now in these difficult times, with the hopes that cart before horse, I suppose, that some funders will find us and be interested in our initiatives.
Well, what I really like, another one of the things I really like about what you're doing is sometimes you have your kids are good readers, or good writers, and they might not be good illustrators. And then you have that child or that person or adult who's a great illustrator, but they don't read and write real well.
Sure.
But what they're doing has value in this arena.
It does.
And so so glad that you're providing that kind of a opportunity, right, for people who have a different skill set. I can't draw a straight line, right? So you have this. So just quickly, what are you reading these days?
I am reading, this is such a violent one and a bad example of good literature, but it's wonderful and it's popular. It's called Something is Killing the Children. I would definitely put it at a hard R, but it's perfect for this time of year as well. It's one of the most popular comic books out there right now.
Okay.
By James Tynion III, and it's out by Boom Studios.
Now, is this like a graphic novel also?
It is issue by issue right now.
Okay.
The first volume, I think, became available a couple months ago, but there's still, I still go to the comic shop and wait for the newest issue to arrive.
Okay, very good. And Dan, what are you reading?
Currently, I'm going to be rereading Lock and Key by Robert Rodriguez, which is,
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill, pardon me. Okay. Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. So
okay.
if you like horror, it's a fantastic read.
Wow. Very
so
good.
Another hard R, but very good. It just got turned into a Netflix series.
Yeah, the Netflix series is more teen level.
It is.
Yeah.
Very good. So, one last time, how people can get in touch with you?
Sure. CreatorsAssemble.org. Reach out to us anytime. Creators Assemble SD, as in San Diego. CreatorsAssembleSD@gmail.com. We've got volunteers and interns working for the job opportunities, and they will respond to you and kick it up to us as needed.
Very good. Dan, any last words?
Just check us out and keep reading graphic novels.
Okay. And then, Moni, any last words?
No, just that we hope to be providing scholarships to at-risk kids going forward. So if that's something someone's interested in, either they have a need for it or they want to see a funding opportunity in it, let us know.
Okay, well, we want to get an update from you, so let's have you back. We've had Moni Barrette and Dan Wood, creators of Assemble. There you go. Oh, my God. Ensemble. And I'm Jose Cruz, I think. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. Thank you both for being on the show. WS Radio, worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011. 800-628-6011. NavyMutual.org. Insuring those who serve.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days? What's that mean?
Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.